continue to call this meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and the invocation following. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear God, please bless our elected officials. Grant them the wisdom to know and the courage to do what is right for all citizens. Amen.
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 Roll call, please.
Allen? Here. Green?
Here.
Mistrovich?
Here.
Reindell?
Here.
Ricks?
Here.
Schultz?
Here.
Warren?
Here. Good to see everybody here tonight. Approval of minutes for the City Council meeting of September 7th. The motion be in order.
I'll make the motion.
Support.
Motion been made and supported. Is there any discussion?
They have been changed to swap out the July change for the calendar dates for council.
All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion does pass. We go on to audience comments on any non-agenda items. If anybody would like to address the City Council, now would be the time. We'd ask that you would come to the podium, state your name and address for the record. Doesn't look like anybody. Okay, we will move on. Adoption of agenda, Mr. City Manager, any changes?
No changes.
City Council, any changes? Motion to accept the agenda as presented.
I'll make the motion.
Support.
Motion been made and supported. Any discussion on that? Being not, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion does pass. Is there a motion for the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented. Support.
Motion been made and supported. There's no discussion on the consent agenda motion. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion does pass. We go on to items for consideration. We have four this evening. The first one being consideration and presentation and approval of the fiscal year 2021 city audit. Patrick?
Council is scheduled to receive a presentation from the city auditors, Plant Moran, on the fiscal year 2020-2021 audit. The auditors, once again, are able to give an unmodified opinion, which is the best opinion that can be provided. Tonight we have Dave Harrington, Keith Szymanski, and Daniel Hart to make the presentation.
Welcome, gentlemen.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council. We're thrilled to be here. We all had to come tonight because we haven't been able to see clients for like 18 months, so it's just great to be here and see you all in person and present the results of the audit. Dave Harrington, the partner on the account, and with me are Keith and Dan, who will go through the presentation. If you recall, last year I had to do that, which is always scary when they were nervous sending me here to do the presentation, but thankfully we only have a couple of walls this year, so
Yeah.
we are very appreciative. As the city manager has mentioned, you got the best opinion you can get from your auditor, which is a non-modified opinion, which is a great compliment to the community. I've mentioned this for a number of years, but this is my earliest council presentation we do for a June year-end, year after year, and that's also a great compliment to the city and to Angel and finance and everybody working together as a team, because there's a lot of things that go into it. There's actual reports, there's, GASB comes out with a new flavor every year of things that have to be implemented, and so to be able to still present in October on a June year-end for any community is very impressive. So hats are off to the city again this year. With that, I'm going to turn over to Keith and Dan to walk us through the slides that you have. You have the packet in front of you, and we'll be happy to take any questions throughout the presentation and after.
Thanks, Dave, and thanks, council members. So again, I'm going to cover the presentation that you have in front of you today. Just want to cover a few key financial metrics and kind of highlight the financial statements. So first slide would be general fund revenue. So in total general fund revenue rose again in 2021. It's up about 11% from 2020, and that's from 4.1 million to 4.6 million. Property taxes continues to be the largest source of revenue, coming in at 60%, while state shared revenue comes in second at just about over 13.5%. As you can see, taxable values are continuing to head in the right direction, again experiencing a modest increase in the current year, which is actually the 5th straight year of taxable value increases for the city. State share revenue has been increasing but has stabilized in the current year, up less than 1% from 2020. However, in the other revenue category, you will see an increase for the additional COVID-19 relief funding sources that the city did receive during the year. On the next slide for the general fund expenditures, you'll see that even though revenues increased 11%, expenditures increased by less than 1%. So again, another testament to the city just staying close to the budget and maintaining sound financial practices to, to maintain a healthy fund balance at the end of the day. The largest expense category, as expected, was public safety, which would be consistent with previous years at about 46% of the general fund expenditures. So what does that mean? On the next slide would be the comparison of the year-over-year fund balance that has accumulated in the general fund. And in 2021, the total fund balance did increase by north of $715,000. Nearly all of the fund balance is unassigned, which means it's available for the city's future potential uses. Again, credit to the city for keeping a close eye on the budget and maintaining a sound fund balance during these challenging times and for the future. In 2020, there is an expected use of fund balance of about $273,000. On the final slide, just highlighting the metrics in the water and sewer fund. So two that we look at would be working capital, which is your current assets against your current liabilities. And you can see for both funds, both have either been increasing or very stable over the last 5 years. Another one, operating income. While the sewer fund did have an operating loss, when you add back the non-cash depreciation item, it is still positive and healthy for the sewer fund. And again, same thing for the water fund. There was actually operating income and an increase to that net working the working capital metric. Again, both funds are in sound financial condition, like previous years, because of this, you've been able to fund capital projects without incurring additional debt. So again, good testament to the city and the sound financial condition. And with that, I'll pass it off to Keith.
Good evening. Briefly going to cover the end of audit letter addressed to the mayor and members of city council, the one on Plant Moran letterhead. This letter is in 3 sections and includes some color commentary beyond the numbers and the financial statements themselves to talk about how the audit went, the results of the audit, as well as some informational items we thought would be worthwhile to share with the city. So section number 1 of the letter is where we would bring to your attention any internal control related matters. We do have one item to report this year. The good news is that it's not a significant issue or a new issue, but rather sort of a cleanup of a misclassification of one of the city's pension plans that's actually been classified as a defined contribution plan for the last 16 or so years that it's been in existence, but while preparing for a new GASB standard this year, GASB statement number 84, and working with Angel, we discovered that this actually is a defined benefit plan. So while it does have characteristics of a defined contribution plan in that the city's contributions for the police personnel that are involved in this plan are limited to 10% of their pay, it is technically a defined benefit plan, which means we have to apply a different set of auditing standards and accounting standards and present it a different way in the financial statements. And that includes estimating what the total liability is that's been promised to those employees of the city against the assets that are currently set aside at MERS. And so that did result in a pension liability that had to be recorded for the first time this year. We ran that through as a correction to the financial statements, and because of that, we have to bring this item to your attention. But I mentioned that sort of good news in that all of the transactions that took place during the year, the thousands of transactions that take place throughout the year, were done accurately. And so that should be a good sign to council and a message that the interim financial reports that you get throughout the year as you're making decisions are reliable. And so that's certainly good news. Section 2 of the letter are required communications under the auditing standards. This is where we would sort of bring to your attention anything outside the ordinary that took place during the audit. We do again point out that there was a new GASB standard that was implemented this year, GASB 84. A very technical item that had very minimal impact on what you care most about in terms of general fund operations. So it was sort of a reevaluation, a redefinition of fiduciary activities. It did require quite a bit of preparation and analysis before the audit. but the end result was not major changes to the financial statements other than this identification of the defined benefit plan. So we bring that to your attention, as well as the fact that there are some significant estimates included in the financial statements, the promises made for retiree health care and that pension plan. Those are both based on actuarial calculations that are performed. We audit those looking at the assumptions and methodology that all go into estimating what that liability is. We think it's all fair and reasonable estimates, and therefore we're able to give our clean opinion on the financial statements. Other than that, there were no disagreements during the audit with management. No other corrections that we identified as part of the audit that we need to bring to your attention. And so, moving on briefly to Section 3, the legislative and informational items. I'm just going to hit a couple of the items on the first page, page number 5. The first of which is a section and links to Plant Moran's COVID-19 Resource Center, where we also have information related to the American Rescue Plan. So, as you know, the city is due to begin receiving some fairly significant sums of money in the near future. You have more than 3 years to decide what to do with that, and put a contract in place to determine how to spend it, and an additional 2 years to actually spend it. So it's not until the end of 2026 that it actually has to be spent by communities receiving that money. So there was an interim final rule that came out in May of this year with the first set of guidelines in terms of what it can be spent on and what the requirements are that come with it. We understand that the Department of Treasury is evaluating comments and feedback they received on that and are likely to post some clarifications. We don't know how minor or how significant the changes will be in terms of the guidance and what it's allowed to be spent on. So to the extent the city is comfortable standing pat, waiting to see what happens with that guidance, and then evaluating what the best needs are, the best uses of those funds, that would be our recommendation to the city. To remain patient, keep an eye on that. You're able to earn any interest that you can on that and use it for whatever purposes you see fit. So I know that's not much these days, but it is a small benefit that comes with it. So when you are ready to start thinking about what to do with that or have some specific questions, we'd be happy to answer them for you. Come to another meeting to talk through what those possibilities are. And we also point you to the links in this section of the letter where we're posting all of our latest guidance and information we have related to that. At the bottom of that page, we talk about cybersecurity and IT controls. As I'm sure you've seen in the last year or so, there have been some high-profile ransomware incidents, related to infrastructure and financial systems. But I can assure you, they're not the only ones being targeted by these bad actors. So it really is just throwing it out there, any email address they can get their hands on, and hope that someone lets them into their system. So we do advise everyone to periodically take a fresh look at their controls, potentially consider having an outside party come in and assess what the information and cybersecurity controls are, if there are any vulnerabilities, and whether it's worthwhile for the city to invest in making some improvements there. So we're recommending that to everyone as we have been for the last couple years. The rest of the letter is just some updates on state reporting requirements, upcoming accounting pronouncements. Nothing in particular that I wanted to highlight, but I'll stop here and we'll take any questions on anything in the letter or the financial report that we discussed or you were hoping to hear from us on.
Council, any questions? All pretty clear.
Great.
They're very understandable for us. Do you have any idea what kind of timeline they're looking at to get us what we'll be able to use those funds for?
I have not seen anything on that. I do know the first reporting requirement was going to be October 31st, and on Friday they announced that that was extended until April, I believe. So I think they're recognizing they're a little slow to get that guidance out, which is slowing down everyone's ability to plan, and so it is going to be an extended timeline.
Okay, thank you. I think we're good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it again. Council, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to receive and file the City of Richmond June 30th, 2021 financial report with the supplemental information from Plant Moran.
Support.
Motion been made and supported. Any discussion?
Just one comment, Mr. Mayor. I'd just like to thank Angel, who is the superstar really through this, because she really did their job for them, I think, and made it really easy for them. But thank you for coming and doing that and supporting her, and just thank you to also the city manager as well for keeping us on our toes and always on budget.
Very good. Anybody else? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion does pass. Again, gentlemen, thank you very much. Item number 2 is consideration of the second reading and adoption ordinance number 156-29, text amendment to accessory structure standards. Mr. City Manager?
Council is scheduled to give the second reading and adopt ordinance 156-29, which amends section 7.02 of the zoning ordinance and revises the maximum accessory structure size, height, and setback requirements. City Council gave introduction and first reading of this ordinance at your second meeting in September. And in the packet, again, tonight as it was 2 weeks ago at your meeting as kind of the red line marked up version of the ordinance, as well as kind of the discussion that happened at the Planning Commission. Troy is here tonight if you do have any questions for either of us.
Very good. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion to give second reading and adopt ordinance 156-29, which amends section 7.02C, the detached accessory structure standards for single and two-family residential uses, to revise the maximum accessory structure size, height, and setback regulations.
Support.
It's been made and supported. Is there any discussion? We had quite a bit of discussion on the first reading. Was there anything that came from the public on this? In between the first reading and this reading?
Not that we've heard of, other
Yeah.
than the voice did cover the introduction and first reading as a article, but
Okay. Council, any comments? Any comments from the public? Back to the table. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion does pass. We thank Troy and the Planning Commission for going through tireless discussion on that entire subject. Item number 3 is consideration of special event activity wrestling registration across the road banner. Mr. City Manager?
Council is scheduled to consider an across-the-road banner request from the Richmond Wrestling Association for a banner announcing the opening of their registration. This is the second year for this particular banner.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
I make a motion to approve the across-the-road banner request from Richmond Wrestling for a banner to be placed over Main Street from Monday, November 1st through Friday, November 12th, 2021.
Support.
Motion made and supported. Any discussion on this item? Any audience comment? You haven't voted yet. Back to the table. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion does pass. Item number 4, consideration of special event activity, Tootsie Roll sale, Richmond Knights of Columbus. Mr. City Manager?
Council is scheduled to consider a request received from the Richmond Knights of Columbus to conduct their annual Tootsie Roll sale on Friday, October 8th, and Saturday, October 9th. The Knights of Columbus are requesting permission to solicit funds at the intersections of Main and Division and County Line Road and St. Clair Highway.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
I make a motion to approve the request received from the Richmond Knights of Columbus to conduct their Tootsie Roll sale at the intersections of Main Division and County Line Road, St. Clair Highway on the city side on Friday, October 8th and Saturday, October 9th, 2021, from dawn to dusk, and that the Knights of Columbus agree not to be in Main and Division intersection on Friday, October 8th, from 2 to 2:30 to 3:30, and further, that the Knights of Columbus agree to sign a liability waiver.
Support.
Motion been made and supported. Is there any discussion on this item? Any audience comments on this item? Back to the table. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion does pass. Miscellaneous matters from the city manager, sir.
I have nothing tonight.
Council comments. Mike, we're going to start with you tonight.
Just a couple things. Thanks, all of council for getting in their city manager evaluation forms, compiling the results, and then I know that we're going to meet as a committee on that. Also, both Councilor Green and I attended the MML conference a couple weeks ago, and it was good. A lot of new things. One of the things to know, and it was interesting that Plant Moran talked about it, was cybersecurity and how we need to be really protected on top of that. So they had some good information on that and contacts and potential people that can help us out. I know we have High Tech as our resource for IT, but there's some people that are specialized in that as well, so we can maybe look into that. I think that's it. Thank you.
Jim?
Nothing, Mayor.
Rob?
Nothing.
John?
Nothing.
Emily?
Nothing, thank you.
Just to add on to Councilor Stravage's, thank you for letting us attend. It was a great conference. There were lots of things to learn, things I'd like to trickle down to the boards first before, kind of some great ideas before it's brought back to us. And I brought some resources to share with those folks.
Very good. Excellent. We'll call the calendar here. Today being October 4th, we have a cancellation tomorrow night with the Richmond Parks and Recreation Commission annual walkthrough. Our Park and Rec director can't walk due to a broken ankle, foot, whatever it is that she has there. So that will be rescheduled. A week from tonight will be at 7 o'clock will be a library board meeting at the library. The 12th at 7 o'clock will be the next Cable Commission meeting. Planning Commission will be meeting on the 14th right here at City Hall at 7 o'clock. And 2 weeks from tonight, we will have a 5:30 workshop, followed by a 7 o'clock City Council meeting. And if necessary, we will go back in to a workshop setting after the regular City Council meeting on the 18th. Is there anything else that we need to add to the calendar at this time? I don't think so. Okay. Superintendent, the schools is here with us tonight. I'd like to commend whoever was in charge of the homecoming parade. It was a very proud parade for our community. It was large, it was well done, well organized, so hats off to the school district on that. And we won, of course, so that was even better. So it was a great homecoming weekend. Okay, moving on to closed session, Mr. City Manager. We have a closed session. We need a consideration of purchased property. Is there a motion to go into close?
I'll make a motion to convene into a closed session in accordance with Section 8D of the Michigan Open Meetings Act, Public Act 267 of 1976, as amended to consider the purchase or lease of real property as requested by administration.
Support.
Motion been made and supported. Any discussion? Be it not, roll call, please.
Green?
Yes.
Ms. Stravich?
Yes.
Rindell?
Yes.
Ricks?
Yes.
Schultz?
Yes.
Warren?
Yes.
Allen?
Yes.
Motion passes. I'd like to go back. I do have a couple things here that Parks and Rec has put on my desk to announce, and this one is timely. It's the Recreation Department's 2021 Scarecrow Decorating Contest. Don't see it on here, but I would call the Parks and Rec at 727-3064. All entries are due by Wednesday, October 13th. That's where it's at. So this is something that we've done annually for a number of years, picked it up for the Chamber of Commerce, and, you know, it takes care of our downtown during the holiday there. And then the announcement, it's already, I see on Facebook and social media, City of Richmond will be having a No Tricks Only Treats on Sunday, October 31st from 6 to 8 at the Richmond Fire Hall. So that will be going on. Anybody who would like to join in on that, tables are available for anybody that would like to hand out candy for that, and there is no charge. Again, contact the Parks and Recreation Department at 727-3064. With that, we'll go into closed session. We have a motion to go back into regular session.
I'll make a motion to reconvene into open session.
Support.
Motion been made and supported. There's any discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion does pass. We're back in open session. We move on to other business. Approval of the purchase agreement. Mr. City Manager, any comments?
No comments.
Okay. City Council, is there a motion?
I make a motion to approve the purchase agreement in the amount of $1 with the Richmond Community Schools for 68931 Main Street and 35620 Division Road, commonly known as the Roosevelt Auditorium, and authorize the city manager to sign on behalf of the city of Richmond.
Support.
Motion been made and supported. Is there any discussion? Well, if nobody's going to say anything, I will. I am extremely happy for our community, working with the schools to transfer the ownership of the auditorium on Main Street. I believe that we have the funds to bring the building back into great shape so it can be used by everyone in our community. And I believe that we will be very happy to see that building come back into use by our entire community in various ways, whether it's for the children, whether it's sports, whether it's any kind of clubs that may want to use it or anything else. It gives us another option in our community. I think it's going to be very positive for our families also. So I'm ecstatic at this finally coming about, and thank our superintendent for helping get us there with his school board, and appreciate those school board members that supported this sale of this property. Any other comments? Any public comment? Back to the table. All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion does pass. Motion to adjourn be in order.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Support.
Motion been made and supported. There's no discussion. All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion does pass. Thanks for being with us.